Watch the ride.
Hey everybody, I've been trying to film this video for like 4 days now, so sorry it's taken me so long to get this done. I was hoping to get it done quite quickly, but as is life, as I mentioned in the previous video. I am also very quickly going to open this because this came to the PO box and I don't get that much stuff going to the PO box now, so I can't just like wait for a few things to turn up because it could be months, so I just open things now when they turn up. I don't know what this is. Well, it won't focus because this is my SLR. There are some little snipers. Some little snippy snipers. I'm pretty sure that actually these are like fishing scissors. I used to have a pair quite similar to them. So whoever sent me those, thanks. I'm sure they are actually going to come in handy. They might live on my desk as a handy thing to have. Anyway, should we get on with the questions? So firstly, huge thanks to 125, I thought it was only 124 of you, but there is 125 of you on Patreon now. Thank you very much, very kind of you. God, when did I ask for the questions? Okay, so as it turns out I asked these questions on the 14th of May. I am so sorry, I didn't realise it had been that long, but my God, there's so much stuff happened in that time. So, I've got about 19 questions. I'm just going to get on with it and try and get through them as relatively quickly as I can, because I don't want to keep you too long. Jordan Darko, you get to kill one living person and replace them with a dead person. Who would your choices be? I'd like to bring back many people, many scientists, very much scientists recently which spent their entire life trying to prove something only to die very shortly before the thing they were trying to prove was proved. I think, you know, it seems right that they should get to see that they were right. As for who would I choose to kill, now I've sat here and I've thought of many different people. I'm just like, it's hate to suggest that I'd like someone to be dead is not a very nice thing to do. So I'm going to instead make a group of people. Basically people who don't believe in vaccinating their children and thus put their own children and anyone else's children at risk. Anti-vaxxers. And anyone who's pretty much a science denier, they can also go to. So there's quite a big group of people right there. James the Naked Snake, if someone wrote you a blank cheque, what things would you buy? Where would you go? What would you want to do? I know you're interested in engineering. Have you considered looking into doing engineering part-time to help your financial situation? And a quick last one, tea, coffee or other. And how do you take it? Why? Okay, so starting at the beginning. A blank cheque. If I had a blank cheque, I would buy a small house in the countryside. I'd have a workshop, a couple of bikes, a van. I wouldn't live a lavish lifestyle. I would like to travel and see some different parts of the world, but that wouldn't be like going to 5-star hotels. It would be going to see the country and the people and things like that. And just spend my life tinkering, making and doing. I still want to work. I still do this, to be honest with you. I still make my clocks. But yeah, that's what I do. I have an interest in engineering. Have I considered getting a part-time job in it? If for some reason I couldn't get a full-time job in it, I have no qualifications in engineering. I've been doing stuff with my hands my whole life. I do have a job kind of doing that sort of thing, kind of is and isn't, in the sense that the boat work that I was doing over the winter more so, that's mechanical engineering to a point. You know, it's like servicing because I have to change bearings and things like that, but there's also an amount of like checking cogs and checking the teeth are meshing right and shimming to make sure that things are all matching up correctly, and yeah, so it's kind of a bit of that as well. And the last one of tea, coffee or other, this is quite well known but it causes a shock every time I say this. I don't like tea, I don't like coffee, I don't like any hot drinks. Don't know what, I'd love to like tea, I really would. I like the smell of tea and I kind of don't mind the taste of it, but it's something about warm drinks, I don't like them. So, how do I take it? In the bin. I'll have a water. Not a caffeine-filled, but sugar-free energy drink. Oh, it's got spartamine in it. It's going to give you cancer. Alan, I'm dyslexic. You know this, right? So, me butchering your last name, you have to understand. It's like Alan Urquhart? You're laughing, I know you are. Where in the world would you like to ride the most, country, or even just a specific route? I think the one specific route that I'd like to, there is a road, I think it might be in Iceland, or is it in Greenland? I think it's in Iceland, and it basically is like this long, twisty, windy road that goes hopping from island to island as it goes across. Just looks, I mean, it wouldn't necessarily be an amazing riding road, but it just looks awesome. I'd like to see Iceland anyway, because it's such an interesting looking place. Very pretty, in a raw way, because it's such a new land. Richard Groves, if you could choose who was to find the nuts next, who would you pick? Well, actually, the current situation of the nuts is that Big Pezza had them. He was mugged for them by Adam WMV. Check the playlist for the Spicy Hunt to get up to date exactly what I'm talking about there. But men have been fighting over my nuts. So the next person, I don't know, because I know it's going to Wales, I think. So I would say like Triple Kylie, but I've got a feeling if she gets hold of them, they're going to just get destroyed in some sort of symbolic ritual of smashing and destroy. Oh, you're like, but how do you have the nuts? These aren't the original nuts, look. These are welded on one side and not the other. Shinshro917, again, sorry if I get these names wrong. Would you ever consider doing a Green Alien video on a Honda Monkey if you could get your hands on one? If I could ride one and it not get just wedged up my arse, it probably would be quite easy, because when you do get to the rough ground, stand up, it stays with me and I carry on walking. I would be fully happy to try and green lane anything. If someone said, here's a H2, go and green lane it, it doesn't matter if you break it, I'd do it because I'd have the opportunity to. I would try not to break it, but basically yes. But the thing is, it depends who owns the bike. If it belongs to you, no, because I don't want to damage someone else's possession. But if it was a company, like with Lex Moto, I don't mind damaging them. I haven't damaged one yet, really. Richard Groves again, Lex Moto, SYM, I don't know how you pronounce that, and Sinus are all pretty decent now, but are there any Chinese bikes that you'd avoid like the plague? That is a very good question, and it highlights something which a lot of people don't realise. When I say Chinese bikes, and I talk about what I talk about with Chinese bikes, I'm talking specifically about Lex Motos, generally. Yeah, okay, you can include Sinus on that, but Sinus haven't got the same backups, like the warranties and the parts and all that sort of stuff. I had a Sinus, it was fine. But things have progressed. Lex Moto's really pushed forward, really set up, like, you know, as I say, they've changed the warranty periods, and like you get 3 years breakdown cover and all this stuff now. They're really pushing it. So everything I say applies to Lex Motos. Beyond that, there isn't one brand that I would stand out and say that's a terrible brand, because I don't have the experience to know. And I wouldn't want to say something about a company that wasn't necessarily true, because I don't know about it. So I would just, instead of saying I would avoid others, I would only really recommend or take what I say about Chinese bikes as something referring to a company like Lex Moto, which is so well known and has really pushed things. You can't just cross that over, because I have some people saying, oh, have you heard of there's some random thing bike, you know, it's one that 20 of them were ever imported into the country. Oh, do you think these are good? And it's like, I don't know, I've never seen one. Just because it's made in China doesn't mean that I know what it is or how good it is. I can only talk for the bikes that I've used, which is pretty obvious. Keith, do you believe in the supernatural? And if so, do you think your guardian angel rides a Harley? No, I don't believe in supernatural things, really. I'm not superstitious as such, although I'm funny about walking over to 3 drain covers, because it's just a thing I've always had since I was a kid. It was like, don't walk on 3 drain covers. But then maybe that's because over 3 drain covers you have an increased likelihood of falling over, because both feet are on the drain cover rather than 2. There is actually some science in that. Do I believe in ghosts? No. I basically believe in science and what is provable. Do I believe that we know everything? No, of course not, because we don't know everything. And a lot of the things that we currently think are right could well be wrong. But no, I don't believe in that. I think it is more likely that rather than there being ghosts, for instance, and God, and all of these things, that there were parallel universes and we saw things crossing over, or there was some time dilation thing where you see bits of the past, or I think that's more likely than, you know, the great creator did this, and then you're seeing ghosts of people previously. I've done videos on this because I'm like, where are the ghost ants? Does my guardian angel ride a Harley? No. I think my guardian angel is slacking. Or maybe they're not. Maybe I should think... This is the thing, this is something I'm learning to do. It's like, maybe I should look at things differently. You know, I know I've struggled a lot for the past few years to like, you know, go out my own and do my own thing. But then I'm like, I actually managed to do this for more than a year. Maybe some people would have tried to do what I do, and after 6 months they're like, well, that's it, can't do that. I've managed to keep this going for a couple of years, and yeah, it's, you know, my small savings that I had are not there anymore, but I'm still doing it. And people like you, my Patreon supporters, are helping me continue to do that. Do I think it's a future long thing? I doubt it, no, but it might give me the opportunity to move into another job of some sort. That's the thing in this world, it's not what you know necessarily, it's who you know. But if you know something and you know someone, you're set. So if all it would take was some, I don't know, some local engineering company to say, hey, we need someone who can just do general jobs around our shop, help tidy up or whatever, we'll pay you a good wage and you can learn to do more stuff and blah blah blah. I would just be like, straight on them, like I was with the boat work. Unfortunately with the boat work there just is very little of it and it's very seasonal, so I don't know whether I could have like 5 days in a month or I could have 2. I've only had 2 days work from them in the past 2 months, but before that I was getting like, you know, 3-4 days a week, so it's all good. You know, when they contacted me they did say it was part-time and occasional, so I have no problem with that. Joe Zangai, you're laughing. I know you're laughing. My cat's also snoring. Out of the negative emotions of greed, anger, jealousy, hate, which one would you say affects you the most, and how do you deal with it when it arises? There's like 2 questions, so I'm going to ask the first one first. Negative emotions, greed, anger, jealousy, and hate. Which one affects me the most? Not hate. I don't hate anyone. Not jealousy so much. I mean, I can have moments I'm like, I've been doing YouTube just as long as, and longer than a lot of people, and I don't think that I produce bad content. I think it's just a little bit unfair because in some comparisons of the way that channels grow, the way that the American channels always just do so much better than the UK ones. But I totally understand why that is now, and I'm okay with it, but it doesn't change the fact I'm like, you know, so I get people calling me a piece of crap or something because I'm selling some clocks that I've spent hours making. And I actually should charge quite a lot more for, as it turns out. I was speaking to someone and they were like, you really should charge more than that. And I'm like, well, I don't. They're like, you should be charging like £30 an hour. So work out how much that is. And I'm like, no one's paying 300 quid for a clock. Shush. So, no, not jealousy so much, but I'm honest enough to say that, yeah, sometimes I'm like, oh, why? Just if it's not really jealousy, it's more like what if. Greed? No, not at all. I'm not. I just want enough to survive. I don't want to be rich. I don't want to be overly famous. I don't want any of these things. I just want enough to do what I enjoy and be happy at. So the actual where I'm getting to there is anger. I just get really annoyed. Not at people. I don't shout at people, but I get internally ragingly angry sometimes by the stupidity of others, just because they're so stupid and so thoughtless, and you know that in 10 seconds of talking to them you could make them feel like a complete idiot by going blah 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 blah, but there's no good in doing that. No one who's that much is going to actually, you know, listen to what you've got to say. So in the same way that people are stupid and tailgate you and things like that, there's no point trying to tell them that they're being stupid, because they will just go against it. So, anger. Out of positive emotions, compassion, positivity, enthusiasm and initiative, which one is your biggest strength, and did you learn it from someone in your life, or is it innate to your personality? I'll be honest, I didn't really learn much from many people in my life. I've learned a very small amount from my dad, really. My brother's taught me a fair amount. Learned some bits from my uncles and stuff, but most of the stuff that I've learned has been, I've had a seed of information or a seed of stuff and I've just gone with it and learned myself. So enthusiasm and initiative, probably, yeah. I found that I have been very good at helping with sort of, not like compassion, but yeah, it's compassion and empathy, the same thing. I'm very good at picking up on when other people are having problems with mental health, because I've experienced it, and even when people are trying to hide it, like I'm very good at like noticing it, but I don't dig at people and try and I'll say, you know, I'm a good friend to people if I need to be. So the enthusiasm and the initiative to just try and learn new stuff all the time, I suppose, is it. And it's not something I was really taught. It's something that was just always in me, that I always want to learn how that works and how that works. Hope that answers your question. Roger Palmer, what motor race would you like to go see? Bikes or, God forbid, cars? Not cars. I would like to see... I'd like to see the TT. It's not really a race, but it is a race. It's more of a time trial, isn't it? But I wouldn't mind seeing that one day. Just very expensive. You know, lots of people saying, oh, you should go to the TT one day. It's like, yeah, it's really expensive. But maybe that'll happen one day. Damn it. Reno's not here, so I've got to say Mephisto. Mephisto. Fuck, marry, kill. Trump, May, Macron. Oh. Okay, I was going to say, I'll kill myself. But as you want me to give an answer, I will marry Trump and get half his money. I will screw Macron, and I won't say those exact words because I fear of things picking up on video, you saying stuff, and demonetisation and worse. So you can work out the last. Though I don't really want to do that to her. Anyway, another question from the same guy, from Mephisto. Is there any one part of your bikes that you wouldn't repair yourself? There was a longer list in the past, but I've slowly, like, as I've got more confident with things, I will tackle different jobs. Like, never done calipers before, never paid anyone to do them, but never done it before. And I thought, no, I'd be happy to do that one myself. I've rebuilt my own suspension. I think the only thing it comes down to is... well, it depends what bike it's on. If it was Derek, to be honest with you, I would be pretty much happy to do anything. It's a single cylinder. It's like most of the 125s I've ridden and worked on for all the years I have. It's not much different, and it's not that complicated. The XJ6, being an inline 4, is not something I'm that well versed with. Although it's exactly the same kind of thing, there are differences. So probably something deep engine related with the XJ6, but beyond that, with Derek, I would be willing to take it out and try it myself. Right, one from Dominic Cummings Halton? Sorry, again, dyslexic. Hi Spicy, where do you see conventional motorcycle riding in 10 years? Time with regards to the international combustion engines and further developments of electric bikes. I own an electric motorcycle myself and get around 130 miles per charge. However, only the standard charge, so it takes 8 hours. Thanks, I'm with you. Someone else also asked me a question like this in one of the previous Patreon Q&As, and it's like, why is it that the bike companies, like Yamaha and all these, don't have an electric bike? Like, all the car companies are like, yeah, we're still doing petrol cars, but this is our electric, and this is us sort of getting our foot in the door of having electric cars that we're all going to need to do. Whereas in Yamaha, Ducati, Suzuki, all of these different ones, just not doing it. Like, no, we don't have to think about that. They've got like 20 years, less than 20 years, and they will have to completely change how they manufacture everything. It goes from needing mechanical engineers more to needing electronical engineers, because when you remove the motor from a motorcycle, you've just removed nearly all of the most complicated engineering within it. A frame, suspension, stuff like that is nothing like an engine. Like, I think I could say that building the frame of a bike, apart from obviously if it's a sports bike and you need to do geometry and all that sort of stuff, is probably about 10% of the work of engineering a bike when it comes to, like, when it's the engine that's the big thing. And obviously an electric motor is pretty simple. It's an electric motor, a speed controller, some sensors and a battery. Where do I see things? I see the price of conventional petrol bikes going up and up and up and up as more and more of them get written off. I see the price of electric bikes coming down. I do think for most people that electric bikes would be absolutely fine. As you say, 130 miles is more than enough for most people on a commute. Okay, some people it wouldn't be, but more than 130 miles in each direction. It's an 8-hour charge on yours, for instance. So that means, you know, you could be at work for 8 hours and ride back again on a full charge. But I think the electric bike scenario, I don't think the power problem's there or anything like that. It's just batteries. It's just charging and batteries. And obviously as things progress and cars get better and technologies improve, it's just going to get better and better. And electric bikes have every reason to be faster and better than petrol bikes because of the way that motors work. And they will go wrong less. And they'll cost less. In theory, eventually. Though it does mean that people more and more, I think, will treat bikes like they are disposable items rather than things you fix. Bruce Groom, hi Spicy, have you tried to get into TV? No. How about pitching a fun motorcycle show as family entertainment, maybe a cross between Top Gear and Kickstart? Or a beginner to motocross type talent show? Okay, it's an interesting one, but in short, there isn't enough people interested in motorcycles in the UK. There's only about 1.5 million bikes, so that's part of the reason why motorcycle Top Gear is never really taken off. As for me pitching the show, there are many people who, well, to get in, to be able to be one of those people that basically says, I've got an idea for a show, we go to someone and they're like, yeah, that's a great idea, let's make it, you need to be famous already. There are plenty of celebrities I can't name at the moment, but you know the ones that you see them, they're like presenters and you see them in lots of different shows. Well, sometimes those shows are things that they've come up with or someone else has come up with and they've got them involved in. Basically, I don't think it's even worth trying to go down that route. I mean, it's a second question, but it's part of the same thing. Or even a guest motorbike vlogger on a car show. I don't think anyone's interested in that. It's, I mean, like for instance, Top Gear, standard Top Gear is in the what's still on BBC. People seem to just absolutely despise, and any time it's ever mentioned on social media, it's just everyone going, the other three are better. The Grand Tour has ended, and they're now going to continue doing the show, but it's just going to be the trips and the events, the things that people really like. Like back in the day, I think they learnt with like the America trip when, you know, it was such a hit with people. It was such a different thing from what they'd normally done. No one really cares about little hatchbacks, and no one really cares about Lamborghinis and Ferraris. Yeah, you're interested to see it, but it's the human story and the interaction of the relationship of those three people that works so well, and why it was able to cross over and they can do whatever they do together. They have chemistry. But equally, I do wish they'd stop writing it so much, because it's really obvious. And although I understand that when you're in TV you really do have to write everything and how it happens, because you have to plan everything so meticulously, but spontaneousness is crap. So do the events, do the thing, film what happens, see what happens. If you go and drive across Mongolia, there is going to be enough stuff happening in that episode, in that hour-long, 2-hour-long episode, from that week or two you're doing it, that you can make an entertaining show. It doesn't have to be flash bang all the time. It's human, small interactions that people are interested in, I think. This is not going to be a short video, is it? Robert Hickman, would you like to become a motorcycle instructor? I've been asked this many times. I can now actually do it because I've had my licence for 3 years. I don't know. I've looked into it, and as it turns out, it's not a great money maker. So it's not going to be... It's a better money maker than doing what I do now, I suppose. But I don't know if I've got the patience, because, as I've mentioned earlier, I get enraged by stupidity, ignorance, and people shouldn't open their mouths and voice opinion on things that they have no experience in. If I don't know about a subject, I will voice an opinion on it and say, but I don't really know. If I know about a subject and I know it well enough, I'll go, no, that's my opinion, and I will defend it. I won't say, I will say you're wrong. For instance, in some cases, someone says something I completely disagree with, but I'm like, I don't hate you for having a different opinion to me, that's fine. If you want to, you want to believe that science isn't correct, you can do that. We can coexist and have a happy life together. Just don't tell me that I'm wrong for science things, you know? Because it's like, well, I have evidence for my thing and you don't. But different to different people. The reason I say that is because I would end up probably doing CBTs to start with. You do that for a long time, and I'm not sure if I've got the patience. Some 17-year-olds, 16-year-olds are absolutely wonderful. Some of them I've met, you will know when you're about 25 how much of a knob you were back when you were 16, 17. I was to a point too. I probably got worse as I grew up. Confused Raccoon, do you like questions? I had a serious one, but I've forgotten it, so here is a placeholder. I'll give you the answer to your serious question you forgot. Apply milk. If it still burns, it's definitely time to... JMC 787. JMC 78. Jupiter Mining Core. Is that a Red Dwarf reference, or do you just happen to have the initials JMC? I have YouTube Premium. Is that any good for creators when we watch the videos? How does it compare to non-premium peeps with ads? I understand if you can't give much detail around this. Just a general question. Actually, I can't say too much. What I can say is when I look at my revenue, what I earn from YouTube, it does actually separate the premium. I think your views actually pay me slightly more than, or a little bit more than, the normal advertiser views, but it also very much depends on what video it's on and stuff like that, because obviously if it's a really popular video, ads get sold on that video by auction, and you tend to get a higher CPM, which is basically how much you get paid per 1,000 views. So it is beneficial to creators. We are still earning as much or more than if you were just someone watching ads. And if you're someone who watches YouTube with ad blocker on, that's okay, I understand it's annoying, but if you really watch a lot of videos from someone, and this isn't just me, maybe look at supporting them some other way. Even if you just send them $1 or £1, that would be the equivalent of 1,000 views. Just because if you really enjoy someone's content and they're producing it for free and you're just ad blocking it, you're not really helping them. But I'm not going to be one of those people that goes, "You're a leech, man," because it's like, no, I get it, ads are annoying. I don't do it myself just because I think, if you earn money through online, you should allow other people to earn money through you watching their videos, and it does mean I have to watch ads. I think that's only a fair way around it. So, in general question, yes, it's a beneficial to us. Aaron Holmes. I've recently bought a Lexmoto LXR 125 because of your review. So my question is, are they currently working on a LXR 380? Should they make the leap to bigger CC bikes, or try to bring the 125cc bikes up to the 15 bhp limit at the CVT option? I'd love your opinion on this great work. I've also ordered some stickers to help support the channel. Thank you! I have different types of stickers, by the way. I have these type. This is not in focus, but the old school type, the vinyl cut ones. And I also have these type. And I've still got motorcycle chain keychains. And I've got some of the very plain ones. And I've got these, the Spicy Army ones, which I can sign for you. I'm not a brilliant engraver, as it turns out, but it says my name, it's neat enough. But, to answer your question, while the patrons are running down the screen, because yours is the last question, is Lexmoto currently working on the LXR 380? Yes, they are. It's in development. I can't say any more than that. But I don't know much more than that, to be fair. I get to know stuff ahead of time. They do ask my opinion on things, occasionally. But yes, in short, it's something they're working on. I think it is something that we will see come to the market. As for should they make the leap to larger CCs before getting the 125s up to 15 brake horsepower limit? The thing is, this is a slight misunderstanding. It's not like Lexmoto can really have much control over that. Yes, they do have a small amount of control over the development of the bikes and the individual spec of the bikes, but it's an entirely new engine they need. If you wanted to, it's like they've got link brakes. If you wanted to get ABS on it instead of link brakes, the ABS would be far more expensive. I mean, look at the UMs, for instance. The UMs have got the full 15 brake horsepower. They have water cooling and all that sort of stuff. And because of that, they cost about £500, £600, £700, £800, £900 more. I personally would say to Lexmoto, the UMs are really at the level I like to see their Lexmotos, but there is a big difference in price. And the thing is, what you do, it's like, people want a cheap bike for like £2,000. Well, they can only get so much bike for that £2,000, and it still be reliable and good, and them still be able to give them, like the 2 years warranty and the breakdown cover for a year and all that sort of stuff. There's not a lot of profit margin in that £2,000. I think you've got to build a bike and all the things along the way there. So people will have to be more willing to spend more. Now the ideal thing they need to do, and this is what the seems to be, is you have the Lexmoto prices which are at the bottom end of the acceptable quality of bike. If you get anything much bit under that, it starts to get really ropey. So that's why I said about Lexmoto. So they're kind of at the beginning. Then you have the big brands at the end that are charging like double the amount for a bike. The UMs are somewhere in the middle. So I would like to see the standard Lexmotos reaching closer to the quality, well not the quality build quality, but the performance and the thing like that you get from the UMs. But obviously they can't do that without making the Lexmotos more expensive, and then people say they're more expensive. So it's a balancing act of giving people what they want for the price they're willing to pay. But I do think that maybe they should be willing to make them just a little bit more expensive, considering they're 50% cheaper than some of the Japanese bikes. I think it might be worth just making them that little bit more expensive to try and get the power back. But as I say, they don't develop the engines, they kind of pick the engines and put them together with stuff, so it's kind of difficult for them to do that. But yeah, so I want to see them do that as well, but I'd also like to see them bring out the larger CC bikes. To start with, they're probably not going to be the best, because that's the way it goes. New things take time to develop. But I'm very much, as soon as that LXR 380 is available for me to get my hands on, even if it's not available for a while to the public, I just managed to get hold of it for a test ride, I would love to try that. But equally, that bike frame is not unique to Lexmoto, nor is that 380 engine. I think there is a bike out there which is very similar. Might not be the same 380 engine, but you can actually, it's sold in other countries under different names, so you can kind of find out. It's not like they're making something that doesn't exist, it already kind of exists. I hope that answers your question, and all the other questions of all the other people. So thank God I got that done. Sorry if I was looking at the screen most of the time, or looking at that screen and not the camera, but I imagine most of you would be listening to this anyway while you're getting on some work or doing something. I hope you weren't doing that. It's an interesting one. So good questions again. I'm really liking getting the questions from my patrons. It is meant that rather than just getting randoms from all over the internet asking the same question, time and time again, every Q&A I've done through Patreon now has been interesting. They're really thoughtful questions, and they've meant that it's kind of taken me an hour to answer 19 questions. I don't know how long I've been filming for, opposed to answering like 50 questions, because they're just... Well, I used to get, before now in the Q&As, I used to get 350 questions. And I used to answer about 40 of them. I've just answered 19 from this. But these are far better questions. They're not just the same old stuff. Right, keep the video short. Thank you for your support. Come and join my Patreon. My cat is giving me a really weird look. Right, let's... Come here, say hello to the peoples. Me up, look at the camera. Look over here, say... Bye-bye, everybody. Thanks for the support. Join Patreon or I'm going to kill your mice. They might want you to kill the mice, though. Alright, you kids. If you enjoyed this video and the other content on the channel, please consider following the links in the description to show your support.